Good day, everyone. Welcome back to Reading and Writing. For our next lesson, we'll be covering sentence and topic outlines. So, for today, we will be discussing the definition of an outline, what basically is an outline. We're also going to be covering the different outline formats as well as the different principles that we have to follow or keep in mind as we create our own outlines. We'll also be talking about the different kinds of outlines, the outlining process, and the benefits of using an outline. All right, so let's just recap from the previous lessons that we had. In selecting and organizing information, we use different techniques, and one of those techniques is brainstorming. We also discussed graphic organizers, as well as for today, we will be covering outlining. So, brainstorming, graphic organizers, and outlining, these are the three main techniques that we use when we want to select information and organize them whenever we read and we write. So, for today, we will be talking about outlining. Basically, an outline or outlining is the process of planning for writing. Sometimes it's also creating a summary of what you have just read. Okay, so an outline gives us the essential features of a text, basically, what the text is all about. All right, so if we're going to define outline, it is a technique that shows how different parts of a text are related to one another. These parts could be of equal importance, or sometimes the sections are showing if a certain idea is subordinate to a main idea or a bigger idea. Now, an outline is also referred to as the blueprint of a text. Okay, if you know what a blueprint is basically a plan. It's the plan that engineers, architects use whenever they are making buildings or making houses. Okay, so similarly, an outline is also considered a plan or a blueprint for whenever you read or whenever you write. Okay, so it's just a plan basically. Okay, now there are different outline formats that we use. The first one is alphanumeric, whereas the second one is decimal. So alphanumeric, when we use the alphanumeric outline format, this is the kind of outline wherein we use both letters and numbers in labeling the ideas that we include. Okay, so what do we mean by both letters and numbers? By letters, we mean we use the letters or the symbols A to Z, whereas for numbers, we use the symbols 0 to the infinity. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that's alphanumeric. Remember, they both use letters and numbers. For decimal, this is an outline format wherein we only use numbers to represent the ideas that we have and or label rather the ideas that we have. Okay, so it's just using 0 to probably 9 or something. Okay, and then we use decimal to indicate, for example, 2.1 to indicate the subordination of the ideas. Okay, so let's take a look at these examples. On my left, you can see that, or on your left, rather, you can see that we have there an essay outline. Okay, so if you're going to look at the labels of this particular outline, you can see that it uses the Roman numeral I for 1, and then the letter A, as well as the numbers 1 and 2. Therefore, this particular outline is using the alphanumeric format. Whereas on your right, you can see that we have there 2.1, 2.1.1, 2.1.2 to represent or label rather the ideas and show its subordination, which I will be explaining later. Okay, so therefore, this outline on your right is using the decimal format. Okay, now let's go to the principles of outlining. We already talked about subordination a while ago. Subordination is one of the principles of outlining. Okay, there are four basic rules or principles rather that we have to follow whenever we create our outlines. The first principle is coordination. When we say coordination, it is simply requiring ideas of the same relevance to be labeled in the same way. Okay, now what do we mean by relevance? When we say relevance, it showcases the importance, how important rather is one particular idea. Okay, if you consider one particular idea as the main idea or one of the main ideas and you labeled it as the first main idea, letter A, okay, therefore, the next main idea that you're going to have should be labeled letter B. Okay, because you followed the alphabetical label or representation. Okay, so what, for example, if you labeled it 1, then you should stick for the second main idea. You should stick with labeling it as the second main idea or represent it or label it with the number 2. Okay, so basically that is what coordination is all about. If it's a subordinate, for example, you started for the main idea you used alphabets, and then for the supporting idea or supporting details you use numbers. Now, for the next cluster, for your next main idea, the subordinate should also be labeled as numbers. Okay. Next, subordination. This is what I was talking about a while ago. When we say subordination, it simply shows that minor details have to be placed under their respective major details. Okay, therefore, the main ideas should be supported by supporting ideas that are related to them. That is why they are called supporting ideas in the first place. Okay, you cannot include ideas there under a main idea, ideas that are not related to it. Okay. Well, you can always see it right away. But what I'm saying is that you have to be mindful of those things, or you have to know which ideas are to be considered main ideas and which are to be considered as supporting details. Next, division. When we say division, it simply requires that no cluster should contain only one item. Therefore, for if you have already indicated a main idea over there, it has to be supported with supporting details. You cannot just indicate a main idea and support it and not support it with other details. Okay? So take for example, you already identified one main idea, you need to at least support it with 1 to 3 supporting details. Next, parallel construction. Whenever you use an outline or whenever you create an outline, you also need to consider that you have to make the format or the layout parallel. Okay, what do we mean by that? It simply requires that all entries in each cluster should be using the same structure or format. If you already use or started using the um, alphanumeric format, then stick with the alphanumeric format. If you started using the decimal format, then stick with this decimal format. That is what parallel construction is all about. Okay, and it should apply to all of the clusters in your outline. All right, now let's move on to the different kinds of outline. When we say different kinds of outline, there are two. The first one is sentence outline and then topic outline. By the terms itself, you can already know or you can already identify the difference between the two. When we say sentence outline, this is a type of outline wherein you write down or you use complete sentences as its entries. Therefore, the main ideas, the supporting details, are all written in complete sentences. Okay? So, this type of outline is also referred to as expanded outline. Whereas, for topic outline, this is a type of outline wherein we use, instead of sentences, this is a shorter version because, or how do I say this? It's a more compact version of the text since it only uses words or simple phrases as its headers or as its labels. Okay? So it's a systematic arrangement of ideas using broad topics in the form of words or simple phrases. Okay? So take this one for example. You have this outline about email and internet monitoring, as currently practiced, is an invasion of employees' right in the workplace. So that was the thesis statement, and then you would notice that it contains all of the main ideas, all of the supporting ideas are actually written in complete sentences with the proper punctuation marks. Okay, so this one is what we can refer to as a sentence outline. And if you're going to compare it to this next one, okay, though this is a different topic, however, the format and the kind of outline that is used is very different as well. Okay, so this one, instead of using complete sentences, the thesis statement is written in a complete sentence. However, the outline itself is using words and phrases only. So this one is what we refer to as a topic outline. All right. Now let's go to the different steps in creating an outline. How do you create an outline? How would you make one? The first thing that you have to do, if you're just starting or if you're not even familiar with doing outlines, the first thing that you have to do is brainstorming, especially if you were just given a topic to write about. When you are reading something and you were asked to create an outline out of the information that you have just read, it's easy because you already know the information, you're already provided with the details. However, it's going to be very difficult for you, or it might be challenging for you if it's just a topic that was given to you. Take, for example, you were just asked to write about the different problems that we are encountering in this new normal setup for education. So it's a topic that's basically new. Okay, so you have to brainstorm first. You have to use the first technique in selecting and organizing information. Okay, and by brainstorming, what are we going to do? The first thing that you have to do is just list down all the ideas that you want to include in your paper. Now, these ideas that you're going to list down, they have to come from multiple sources. Okay, so it could be from different people, it could be from different material references. Okay, so list down all the ideas that you want to include in your paper. The second step is organizing. By organizing, we mean systematic arrangement of those ideas. Okay, now how do we do that? All of the things or all of the ideas that you have listed down, you need to find their connection. So look at all of those ideas and try to see which among those ideas are related or connected to one another. Establish relationship among all those ideas that you have collected. And the second thing that you have to do is you need to group them based on the relationship that you have found. Okay? If idea 1 is related to idea 2, then group them together. Okay? If idea 3 is related to idea 6, then group them together. So that is a way of organizing the ideas that you have collected. Okay? The third one, ordering. When we say ordering, it's not you asking for a favor or something. Okay, by ordering we mean we are arranging it. Okay, so by arranging the material in subsections from general, usually this is the order that we follow, from general to specific or from abstract to concrete, you are actually practicing the ordering technique. Okay, so you arrange them in a way that it presents your thesis statement or your main idea, main topic, in a way that people would easily understand. Okay? So usually we follow general to specific or abstract to concrete. So therefore, you start from the broadest idea, from the most general, from the idea that you can still expound, and then move on to the specific ones, those that you can easily support with evidence. Okay, so that's general to specific, abstract to concrete. Okay, the fourth one is labeling. And when we say labeling, you just put labels, okay? So you create your main ideas, identify your main ideas, and then identify which of those ideas, which of which other ideas can support these main ideas. Okay, so create main ideas and then create their subheadings as well. Remember, you can use two different formats, the alphanumeric format or the decimal format in labeling your ideas. But make sure that when you do so, make sure that you use parallel construction. Okay, now there are also different benefits to outlining. What are these? The first one is that it easily shows the relationship of ideas. Even without reading, take for example, I gave you an example of an outline. Okay, even without reading the information over there, you already know which is the main idea. You already know which are the supporting ideas just by looking at it. Okay, that is why it's very essential. All right. The next one, it helps you organize your ideas. Okay. So when we say organize your ideas, you can see that it's clustered, it's grouped. The main idea is supported with other ideas, and for the rest of the outline, it's just that. Okay, it's organized. Now next, it simplifies and helps you to save time in writing. Now, more often than not, we don't engage in outlining whenever we write our essays. But when I was a student back in college, I make sure that I use an outline before even writing my papers. Because in that way, I can easily identify how I want my thoughts, okay, how I want my ideas to be expressed. Okay, so it's easier for me when I'm translating it, when I'm putting it down into a formal essay. It's easy for me to write down paragraphs and sentences all from the outline that I have created. So therefore, it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of effort. It saves a lot of time when I am already in the process of writing the actual essay. Okay? The next one is, if not for writing, it also is very effective in helping you to speak. Okay, especially if you are engaging in public speaking. Okay, more often than not, before you could even be asked to engage in public speaking, you're asked to prepare for it. Okay, and instead of you memorizing an entire text or an entire essay, it's better if you just prepare an outline. Okay, at least you have a guide. It guides you like, oh, this is the first topic that I have to discuss, and these are the things that's going to support this particular topic, and so on and so forth. So it's easy for you to identify, okay, and it's easy for you to manage how you're going to express all of these ideas, all of these thoughts. Okay, so here are my sources and references. That's it. Again, the three main techniques in organizing, in selecting and organizing information are brainstorming, graphic organizers, and outline.